Now, let me just talk a little bit about the Single-Member LLC. Some things that should be taken a little more seriously, especially if you want to maximize the limited liability benefit that the LLC affords you. You don't just have it because you formed the LLC. You don't just have it because you have that acronym behind your name. You have that limited liability protection because you formed it and then you maintain being in compliance. And that doesn't just apply to single-member LLCs. This applies to whoever has an LLC. But what I want to focus on with the single-member portion is because it is just an individual, typically there's some common things that happen when one individual is just, out there pushing it and doing it on their own. It's great that they took a step from saying, I'm not going to do this as a sole proprietor and have all of my personal assets fair game with my business assets. That's great. But what happens is the mentality of how they operate do not change. And you don't want to find yourself in that position. You have an LLC, but you're operating like a sole proprietor, which means you're commingling everything. So now you're still just as at risk as a sole proprietor. You just have LLC behind you. So if you don't have separate bank accounts, you want to establish a separate bank account. So that way you're saying, okay, if the law sees me as a separate entity, sees my LLC as a separate legal entity from me, then everything that I do must be done in that way. And as I mentioned earlier, we're talking about an operating agreement. A lot of times single-member LLC owners don't draft the operating agreement because they feel like it's just me. Why do I need to draft an operating agreement? Because you are you and your LLC is your LLC. So what you need to do is drop an operating agreement between you and your LLC. It may feel strange, it may feel funny, but it won't be strange or funny when you actually need it. So what you want to do is draft your operating agreement, still cover those very important areas, and I just touched on a few because one, it is going to be specific based on, again, the type of business you're running, the type of products and services that you're providing, and the state that you're in. You're going to draft the operating agreement and you're going to let the LLC speak to you. And then you're going to sign in the capacity of a member of that LLC. You're not, it's between you and the LLC. It's not just you. You're signing in the capacity of I am a member and you agree to what this company is telling you how it's going to operate. So I wanted to touch on that. So separate bank accounts, making sure that you have your operating agreement even against yourself, making sure that you can even hold meetings. You can hold meetings, you just write notes of, whatever decisions, whatever you're thinking about. If you're trying to get investors, write those things down and actually date it and document it as it was a meeting. So you're showing that I am too seeing myself separate from this legal entity. So you want to operate like that. And a lot of times, single-member LLCs, we don't. We just move and we sign documents as ourselves. You don't want to sign if it's a agreement or a business transaction that deals with your company, then you want to enter that business transaction as your company, not as yourself. You enter into as your company between whoever, and then when you sign it, you want to sign as an authorized representative of your company, not as yourself. And when you sign as an authorized representative of your company, you're going to put, of course, your name, and then you're going to put the particular role in which you are authorized. So you're going to do everything in a way where you're operating separately. So that way there's no confusion if it, ever comes down